All right, but this past week, the inauguration happened. Got a new president. Cool, yay.
Yeah, great.
Still a politician, so
Yep.
don't really have high hopes ever with politics, but let's start it off. What was the question?
So, watching everyone's joyful, what would you call it, celebration, or just everyone's, I guess, relief that Trump wasn't in office anymore, it got me thinking, and I wanted to pose the question to you and everyone out there listening. Now that Trump is out of office, and we are being led by Joe Biden, or the corpse of Joe Biden, whichever you want to call it.
I almost say every time, I almost say Joe Biden.
It's funny because now they're making it like a thing where it's Joe Biden's the president. Yeah. I'm like, all right, keep playing. One day he's gonna be it. Like this is how ideas start.
That's a bad idea. Yeah, you don't want an emo rapper in the office.
No, not at all. But now that Trump's gone and we have Joe Biden leading the U.S., will this be like people send off from politics? Do you think people are going to pay attention as much as they did these last 4 years? And also, do you think that everyone will go back to their normal state of political wokeness, which is like, let's wait until there's a scandal?
No, I don't think it'll be as heavy in politics because he's not going to have a scandal every fucking day.
Right.
You know? So it'll be like once in a while, like, oh shit, the Biden...
he did this.
Yeah, something happened, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
As far as the people, like political wokeness and shit like that, I think it'll subside a little bit. But since it was raised up so fucking high, it can only go down so much because like you have a new threshold.
Right.
The threshold was broken so fucking much under Trump that you can't go down to just not caring at all ever again.
Right.
So there's that, but I do think this whole like relief, yeah, cool relief, like oh you could breathe a little bit, but don't think that it's a cure-all.
No.
Like everything's gonna get fixed. Like the when you asked me that earlier, I was thinking of the Dave Chappelle skit on SNL when Trump got elected, and he was just like, "What word, really? Like, there's so much of racists in America, blah."
Right.
It's the same thing, just on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's just like there's still all these problems. It wasn't like he entered office and all the white supremacists just fell off,
disappeared.
Yeah, they just disappeared, puffing of smoke. You know?
Biden.
Yeah. It's like Biden just snapped Dano style, white supremacists gone and shit. Did you see that video that was going around? It was like it was on Parler, QN, the white lady. She was just like,
like having a meltdown.
Like, yeah, you're like President Trump, please, and blah blah blah. I'm like, man, when I saw that, I just felt really sad because I was like, these people are really brainwashed, and it's not. Like, yeah, I get it, hate on them and everything because of what they support and all that shit, but really it's just pity for me because I'm like, damn, dude, you're getting fucked over a lot, way more than you realize. And because as minorities, we know what it's like to get fucked over a lot, it's kind of like, just, no, stop. Like, it's so easy. For you, it's so easy. For us, it's harder, but for you just got to be like, tilt your head this way and you'll see.
Yeah.
But what do you think on all this shit, like with the whole Biden? And
it's funny that you brought up the whole like white people getting fucked over because today I was telling you off air about the whole thing at work.
Yeah.
And we were going through this PowerPoint and they were talking about the biggest because we were losing this line of business. They were talking about like our biggest. They were going by demographics or like racial demographics, like who's the biggest. Members of the plan, and at the top were Hispanics because obviously we're in California, but surprisingly number 2, white Caucasian.
What?
So, like, and
as Hispanics, I could let you know we're slowly erasing that. We're slowly making them mixed.
For I'm not gonna get into details. I don't want people finding where I work. To put it in like the best way I can put it without exposing a whole bunch of stuff. This particular plan is like the like poverty line plan that we're kind of losing, and if it shows that Hispanic people are at the top of that, and then whites are second, blacks and Asians were third and fourth,
right,
respectively. So that to me tells me throughout this whole 4 years that Trump was in office, all these like whites were so happy that he was there. So these 4 years that Trump's been in office, it shows that I feel like there was such a euphoria from like white and Caucasian people that they kind of didn't do anything for 4 years. And like, because when I worked there, I saw this same graph, and it was totally different. It was Hispanics, then it was blacks, and then it was my people, and then it was white and Asians last. And like the whites have like tripled since then, like of actual members of this particular plan, and I was just like, damn, like what the fuck. And it was crazy because during the presentation, the one of my bosses, she completely skipped over like white Caucasian because she's white and Caucasian. So she was like, our highest marking members are Hispanics, and then it goes to blacks and then Asians. I'm like, wait, and then I was jabbering people like white Caucasian is like right there. Did she not? That's a big like number, man. Like, but
it sounds like the way you're saying it. It sounds like when you're number one on a thing, so you kind of stop training so hard, and then you kind of fall off. Exactly what happened. They just say, we're on top, we don't gotta do shit, and then they just fell, and they kept falling, and no one they didn't realize until it was too late. But to me, with the end of all this, it does bring one. I think you're right with the whole political wokeness. I don't think it'll go back to like baseline where it was before all this. I think a lot of people will now be very cognizant of certain things that go on. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think we're ever going to see a regular politician again. And by that, I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that it wasn't like super long ago that like white supremacists were running for president and being like the Republican nominee and everything like that. Yeah. This is like the 60s where this was like still, I think in some parts also the 70s, this was still going on. They even out themselves because when Biden was saying a speech and he was like, we're going to crack down on white supremacists and blah, blah, blah. He never said Republican, right?
No.
He just said white supremacist.
Right.
All, like, everyone that's in the Republican Party, they were just like, he's attacking Republicans and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm like, you kind of just outed yourself, guys.
Yeah, so that's what that party means. Huh?
Yeah.
But, whoa. It's just, I think we're going to start to see now Trump ushered in, basically, I'm a coin as Trump politics, which is don't really have any strategies, don't really have any plan or anything like that. As long as I can, like, battle rap style diss my opponent enough that people will be like, ooh, I have a great shot at winning. Because all these things that he, quote unquote, like, tried to do, it was proven in these 4 years that it never happened. Like, literally when, like, Biden's first couple of hours, he basically, like, reversed damn near everything that Trump tried to do.
Yeah.
With
that's
executive
the
orders.
only thing. If they do a Trump-style politics, then it might get you somewhere, but you accomplish nothing.
Well,
everything suffers.
Right. My reason for saying that he's birthed that is because I hope people now will be comfortable with saying that he was an idiot. Like, because people for some reason were like arguing this, and I was like, no. He's like, he may be smart in other areas. I don't know. Like, people say he's a great businessman. He's been bankrupt a lot. People say that his business savvy is like next level. Like, he done a lot of bad deals too. Like, clearly him running the U.S. wasn't like, we didn't turn out to be like, oh, we've hit this great economic boom. No, we got into a decent place because of Obama's 8 years.
Right.
He came in and rode that for the first 3, and then as soon as COVID hit, shitted on everything. And it to me, if your economic planning is so like, if that's basically what the reason why you're here, and as soon as like a problem hits, everything crashes, that tells me that you weren't the dude. Like, you weren't doing anything.
Yeah, he was just riding the coattails of Obama's, where he set it up, and because it was as high as it was like acting like a little floaties for his,
so I can
just
chill.
Yeah,
and then until something bad happened, and then it was like, oh, well, now all these things I had in place to stop this is now gone because I took them out, and whatever.
You're not really good at your job unless it's a crisis and you're handling it.
Exactly. So when it comes to him, I feel like he's birthed that there's going to be people that have his ideas, but that are just way smarter than him. And that's my fear. I think there's people, and you can say what you want about like the Ben Shapiros of the world and people who have that kind of ideology and things like that. The thing that they're great at is they're great at researching what they want to believe, but they're also great at making a mass of people believe exactly what they want them to believe and everything. Trump didn't do that. Trump just said a whole bunch of shit, and then like people, he threw out buzzwords and people just connected with it. Like people like that, they're actually smart to a degree. That's what scares me, because then you're gonna have people who kind of like Biden right now. So people are going to think, oh, dude, you guys are just bashing Trump. No, I'm gonna get to Biden with this. Biden to me is the extension of like Trump if Trump was smart, because Biden has a clearly racist past. It's clear. It's been seen. But what did he do? With age, just meant he shut up. The less I talk, the more you don't remember what I said 10, 15,
That's true.
20
that crime
years.
bill thing didn't get brought up until he was running. But
Exactly.
he was vice president for 8 years.
None of us thought about that.
Yeah,
none of us
it
looked
never
at it.
came up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, as long as I shut up and I play within the rules or whatever, I don't have to tell you how I really feel. But that was sadly the good thing about Trump is he was on Front Street with everything that he was going to do.
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. Like, and he felt like, he was being macho by saying, I'm going to do this and that, whatever. But it's like, you're basically telling us that you don't fuck with us, which is great. These other people who will come in after Biden and after whoever, they're going to run like that now. That is the new way to run. Like, I don't think we'll ever get back to like the, Obama, McCain, like 08 election. Like, we're never going to get back to just like, it's politics, but we're still cool with each other at the end. Hey, better man won. I'm out of here.
Yeah. They're going to have to be really smart though, just because of how social media catches everything, and they instantly make fun of like those Republican senators that were running for Georgia. Those ones when they were clearly super rich, but they were trying to act rural and like, I'm just one of you country folk and saying y'all a lot and blah, blah, blah. Because of social media, that shit could get picked out so well. Like, it could just be like, oh, they're faking it, right?
Right.
So unless they're perfect to the fucking T and they can't find any of this shit, that's the way it's going to work. And also, I think if this will come into fruition if Biden doesn't do what we all expect him to do, which is make sure someone like Trump can't do it again.
Right.
So pass all these laws, these bills to be like, it just can't happen. There's all these roadblocks in place to where even the smartest person will have trouble getting to where Trump did.
I mean,
again, that's all fantasy.
Yeah, it should happen that way.
Right, that's all fantasy. And
this country has been around for as long as it's been around, and no one's thought about that because there's been a lot of shit that's happened, and people are still like, yeah, I mean, I think he's okay.
There is like right now, there's a lot of like shiny new things, like this is gonna fix blah blah blah. Like they appointed someone, I don't know who it was, but his whole thing is to find white supremacists within law enforcement and shit like that. And I'm like, that sounds good and all, but now that they kind of know that's a thing, it's hard to. I mean, not it's hard. It's easy to not seem racist,
right?
You know what I mean? Unless they have some kind of like Tourette's in their brain and they have to
nigger.
I came a little.
Anyway,
notary. So it's just fine. Feel like take a day or a week or a month to be like, fuck, Trump is gone, and feel that relief and just kind of chill. Like take a vacation basically from politics.
Right.
But know that shit is still fucked up. Like the guy that was in charge of the FCC, the fucking guy that killed net neutrality, he's out of a job, right? Like he resigned or he got fired. I'm not sure which. But he rolled back a lot of fucking what do you call it? Regulatory. What is that? Is that how you say it? Regulatory issues, whatever. A lot of shit that protected customers from like internet combining into one monopoly so that we could afford blah blah blah. He killed all that shit. So that shit's still in place. Like that shit has to be built up again. And now because these companies are even stronger and more so than when they were putting those things in place, it's gonna be hard to get that shit back. Like net neutrality made it so that me and you could have the same. If we made a website, we have a website HDIKY.com, runs at the same speed as Facebook. Right. So and now with net neutrality gone, for us to get the same speed as a big corporation website, we have to pay extra to do that shit, you know? And it's shit like that. So a lot of stuff was fucked up that people don't even realize. So it's an uphill battle for a long time. Yeah, and that is why it's funny. A lot of people have like this
this weird perspective of right now. Everyone's living off the high of like, oh, he's gone. And this is where I feel like a lot of people don't believe in politics because of stuff like this, because it all seems like political theater in a sense where it's like you build, or to me wrestling, you build up this super mega villain and then he gets defeated. And of course, now that he's defeated, the dude who defeated him is looked at as like, you've done it, so you're the greatest and everything like that. And you don't really have to do anything now because you're off the high. Hey, that dude that you all didn't like, he's gone now. Right. It's me here, right?
Take care of him.
Right, but like in wrestling and how things work, what happens? Eventually they ride that good guy wave, and then eventually something happens and they turn. Or they were always really the bad guy. Right. It's just that the dude that you didn't like in that position at first was worse than them. And that's kind of what I'm watching right now. Everyone's stuck on stimulus checks, and Biden he's going to implement his COVID relief plan, or he's already starting to do that. And I'm like, that's cool, that's great. However, like you said earlier, this doesn't mean that like racism is gone. This doesn't mean that
still got a whole bunch of white supremacists in law enforcement
and in the government, and like in so many things. Like I found it funny that like after Biden's inauguration speech, there I saw on like CNN and Fox News, they were like actual like Fox pundits and Republican senators who were saying like, oh, that was one of the best inauguration speeches I've seen in years. I'm like, oh, now you're turning the tune, huh? Like you just talked shit for 4 years and you was dragging your nuts for 4 years, and now it's like, oh, okay, so he's gone. All right, let me just act like, hey guys.
There's still that one. I saw this thing. It was funny. Daily Show posted like a photoshopped image of Sean Hannity, some Fox News host, and they changed the bottom to like Biden in office for 1 hour. COVID, like 400 deaths. What's he gonna do about it? Blah blah blah. Like shitting on Biden for not handling COVID within his first hour of being president. And then like it was just for fun. And then later on that day, after he got inaugurated, Sean Hannity was doing that. He was like, "Come on, Biden, like do something about this COVID shit." I'm like, you guys are fucking mental gymnastics masters, man. Like they got gold in that shit.
I feel like you can take sports fandom and like political fandom and put it right to the same, like, because like as a sports fan and everything, I try to keep the most like objective viewpoint on things outside of my team, right? But even with my team, I still have an objective viewpoint of like, this dude really sucks. I should probably get rid of him, right? However, you still look at things from like, it's still my team, so I have to support this dude. Like, politics has made that like times 20 for stuff, because it's like, yo, they'll sit there and blatantly lie. They'll sit in your face and blatantly just be like, no, that isn't happening, which damn well they know, yeah, that's happening, bro. But they have to basically just ride with this team that at the end of the day, which we saw with the whole Trump cabinet and everything like that, as soon as that Capitol treasonous shit happened, everyone jumped off the boat. Most people did. Oh yeah, most people did, right? And it was just like basically just Trump and his family that were still riding with that situation, everything like that. But most people in that cabinet jumped. Only Mike Pence was at the inauguration, which I found was hilarious because nobody was fucking with that dude.
For real, right?
They just left him in the corner, like, you sit right there and you just shut up, all right? Don't say shit to me. Just watching it, it's like literally going as far as you can go, and then turning around and being like, all right, guys, so, hey, everybody, it's just, hey, crazy 4 years, right?
Wow, we all did shit.
Hey, we all said some things.
Muslim band? Muslim band, what's up? It's just his hits.
Build a wall, fuck them all.
Starts crying a little bit. Build a wall. I'm gay. I'm for real gay.
God. This is everyone just looking at him like,